Good evening. It's Wednesday night, the 9th day of March. It's 8 o'clock in the United Kingdom, and that is the time for this screencast to be put out for Gary's Glorious Golden Nuggets. This is our Golden Nugget Nation this evening. And it's the question and answer. And as you know, last week I spoke about leadership. There have been some interesting comments in regards to the leadership, most of them positive. A few people kind of thought, well, it was political. I don't believe I spoke about politics. I talked about leadership. So my apologies if you were offended, thinking that I was speaking in political tones. But what I would like to speak about tonight does have something to do with political tones, and it came from a question from an individual, and I'm not going to give their name because it would give too much away. But let me just share with you what their question was about. They identified that they have lost over half their business due to the economic sanctions that were applied against a specific country because people were not able to make their monthly subscription payment. And because they were not able to do so for various sanction reasons, it had a significant impact on their ability to promote their business. On top of that, because they had advertised greatly before all of these events had occurred, they have not been able to follow up with people as they had anticipated who had expressed an interest. Now, the question that comes forward is, what can I do at this point? Well, let's speak about what my conversation with this person revealed. Number one, I asked them, what is your avatar? Read me what you wrote down your avatar was all about. And it was very good. It was, specific ages, specific sex, different specific educational backgrounds, what their last job was like, what their career path had been like. It was very, very good. But there was an interesting phrase. It said, and they will be Russian speakers. Okay, that gives away a bit too much. But it shows that by having that avatar that specific to a geolocation may have impacted you negatively. Now, there are other countries where the Russian language exists, and in those countries, they have subscribers who are still able to subscribe. But why would you want to limit yourself to a specific language group in your avatar? It may well be that that's the language you're most comfortable with. It may well be that that's the language that you think is underserved and it makes a great niche. But at the same time, my question was to the individual, where are you advertising? When you pay for your advertising, what geo-specific areas are you picking? And of course, they were always the Baltic countries. It was the Russian language groups from the CIS countries. With I believe they call it the common, I can't remember what the CIS stands for. I'm really sorry. But the problem I would have is there are other Russian speaking groups on the planet. Brighton Beach is famous. That's an area where it's like wall-to-wall Russian-speaking people. There are Russian-speaking people in conclaves in California and in the United States and in Canada, etc. Why haven't they explored becoming very, very specific as to locations and having their advertising go there as well. So that was one of the points that we were looking at, like, if you can disseminate yourself across the planet. Now, I understand, like, if you say, I just only want to go to a Spanish speaking audience, well, you have pretty much Central America, except for Brazil and South America, and you have Spain. And then at that point, you start running out of big spaces for Spanish speaking language, but you still have Mexico, you have California, where a goodly percentage of people speak Spanish. You have Texas in the United States where people speak Spanish. You have people in places like Chicago, New York. There are big areas. There's Puerto Rico. So you have places around the planet, and that's you doing your homework to find, okay, if I'm comfortable with only doing a certain language group, which ones do I go to? I mean, if you were French, then obviously you'd want to do Tahiti as well, because it's a French language culture. And if whatever your niche is, it doesn't really matter. I have a firm belief that you can pick the most bizarre and weirdest niche on the planets, and you'll probably find 5 million people who are there. And if that is your audience, if that is your niche audience, and you are offering them a valid service, you're going to have a goodly percentage of them that are going to want to buy from you and accept your service because it's valid and it has value to them. Now, it isn't a problem that which you sold to the people in the country that was sanctioned, because they found value. They wanted to pay you. They told you they wanted to pay you, but they had no means in which to pay the money out. Now, one of the things that I did suggest to them is you need to go back to them and set up with them that there are means to get money out of the country, not through their bank, not through their current standing order, but they can certainly go through some services, and you're going to have to watch those services. For example, PayPal no longer will give or resend, but they did until last weekend. So where you had the subscription problem with everybody at the end of February not being able to make their payments because they had it set up for payday on the 1st of March or whatever, and they were in sanction at that point, you couldn't get anything out from their bank. But if they went to a service like Pay and Send or PayPal or what's it called, Ready Transfer or whatever else, some of those services are still getting through because they are not covered by the sanctions. So you have to be on your game, and you have to figure out what you can do to help them make those payments. I had a colleague who had, by some fluke that he never imagined that he would find people in Africa that would be interested in his service. But he found at one point that nearly 70% of his people were coming from African nations. But their problem was, because he had a subscription program, was getting their money to him. And so he had to find unique ways based upon their geographic location in specific countries that they could actually make payments to him. So again, it takes a lot of due diligence on your part. It may take that you need to rehone your avatar. You may need to rehone on how you advertise your money, how you spread it out, where it's going to go, what targets you're going to have. I know some people, they like to advertise on Facebook, and other people who hate it. But the ones who like to advertise on Facebook, many of them say, I can actually get advertisement to the street in any specific city I want to get it to. But they have to do the work. They have to figure out what they want. That's what you have to do. And so that is my golden nuggets for this evening. Thank you very much for the question that came from, I'm not going to say their name, but I appreciate it. And it gave an opportunity to share with this group some insights that I have gained in my time working in online businesses. I hope to see you next week. Thank you very much. Have a great week and win. Bye, y'all.